Good morning, America. Good morning, Tennessee. I'm Dave Adams, Street Level America, and there's a lot to talk about today. You're going to see this smiling face probably quite a bit today as we're going to push out some podcasts and some thoughts about some of the projects we're working on. First thing in the news today, you'll hear a lot of it, see a lot of it on the news networks today. It is the Democratic Socialists have unveiled their platform. This is what they stand for. Get a load of this. See, this is the U.S. Constitution. This is put out by, we got it from the Hall County GOP, but it's put out by a group. There's a number of groups that put out this. This is the Constitution of the United States. To the Democratic Socialists, don't need that anymore. We're going to change it. We're going to tell you how. This is a $5 bill. Okay? We're going to talk a little bit about how the economy works, how the free market system works. This basic theory and basic ideologies and basic reasons why we believe the free market system is the best system to use. So we'll talk about that $5 bill here. Pretend it's like $1 million, and a company wants to invest this into a company, a factory, a businesses. We'll talk, maybe homes, build homes. We'll talk about that in a minute. First of all, let's talk about the Democratic Socialists of America, their party platform. No mandatory minimum sentences. Murder, somebody comes into your home, rapes, robs, plunders your daughter, your wife, rapes them, and then cuts them up with an axe. No mandatory minimum sentences. Shoot police officers. No mandatory minimum sentences, according to the DSA. Rent control. Every place rent control happens, this is what happens. Investors stop building housing because there's no money in it. There's no return on investment. We'll talk about that a lot today, return on investment. Do you expect people to continue to invest in properties, homes, buildings, businesses, whatever, if the socialists are in control? Because the socialists do is they take all of these. So you have money. You have money to invest. All right? You're putting that money at risk because what you're investing it in might not work. You might lose all of these and not get anything back. But the reward is if you invest it wisely and you get a return on investment, then you make some money on it. But according to the socialists, we're tired of rich people, tired of people investing money. We just need to take all of these, give it to the government, and the government will redistribute it. One of the ways that they want to control this is through what's called rent control. Rents are too high. We're just going to keep rents at a fictional level. Let's say $500 a month. What return on investment are investors going to make to incentivize them to build new housing units? You can say, well, that's easy. The government will do it. Where does the government get their money? The government gets their money from us, taxpayers. So let's take New York, for example. Mindami says he's going to build all these new housing units. Where's the new construction? And they're talking about raising taxes in New York, taxing all the rich people, right? You tax all the rich people, they'll go somewhere else. They'll even go overseas if America becomes democratic socialist. Hear this, government doesn't create wealth. Government takes wealth out of the free market system and redistributes it. Government doesn't make wealth. Let's talk about capitalism. Capitalism. Here comes the rain. We may have to run into the umbrella here for a minute. Capitalism generates a product. Let's move. We'll move under the umbrella. All right. Capitalism creates a product, creates a service. That product or service goes out. It has value. It's worth something. Let's say it's a housing unit. Let's say it's a an apartment complex. You invest money into something of value, someplace for people to live. People come in and live there and they pay rent. Ideally, you want to be able to make more money than that costs. That's the incentive for the investor to build apartment complexes. Follow me. If you take away that incentive, he's not going to go in and do that. You're not going to get the product built. And the government is going to do that because they've run out of money, because all of the rich people, all the people with money to invest are going to go somewhere else because the government is trying to take all their money. Hear me. Government doesn't create wealth. Government doesn't create a product. Government doesn't create something of value, a service. They just take from investors who are trying to do that. So, the economy will stagnate because the engine of the economy is people putting money into the economy to invest in it, to create something of value, something of substance. Auto shop that can perform a service. They fix your car, they fix your brakes, they fix your transmission. That's something of value, something you'll pay for. That's a valuable service. So if people are disincentivized to opening auto repair shops, where are you going to take your car to get it fixed? Where are you going to go and buy your generator? Government going to make them? There is no incentive to create a quality product. You create a quality product, more people want to buy this product, and more money comes into your business, and that creates wealth. It's not a dirty word. It creates a return on investment for the investor. Now, the government doesn't have money to invest. Oh, but they got all this money. No, they've got your money. And if the source of the government money, which is taxpayers, dries up because all of the people with substantial amounts of money to invest and to be taxed go away, the government loses their grip on income. The government doesn't create income. Government doesn't create anything of value. Government just takes out of the free market system. That's why socialism fails when they run out of other people's money. And you'll see a mass exodus from New York, California, and any place else, any other blue states, where they really embrace this socialism idea. But it gets worse. Okay, so rent control. We took a little bit of time to explain how the free market system works. The fact that government does not create wealth, does not create anything of value. They just take out of the economy and stifle the growth of the economy. Look at Venezuela, look at Cuba, look at North Korea, look at Russia, look at China, look at the quality of life there. Look at the freedom there. They have no freedom because the government has taken it, because the government controls it, because we're not smart enough as the people live in those countries to know what to do. The government has to tell us everything to do. You'll lose your freedom. You'll lose your money. Folks, I know you might not like the way the economy is, but cowboy up, America. The socialist way is not the way to do it. Okay, rent control. Abolish ICE. It gets worse. We're tired of ICE going around and arresting people who are in America illegally. By definition, you have entered America illegally. You are not here according to our laws. Apparently, some people have a problem with those people being arrested. You run from law enforcement. Law enforcement, enforcing the laws of America. They're not just saying, okay, which home are we going to bust into today and who are we going to shoot today? Don't run from law enforcement. If we are a nation of freedom, we have to be a nation where some rules apply. You have laws. For people who don't follow those laws, there have to be penalties, repercussions. The other side of that, if we don't, you're just going to do whatever you want, irregardless of the laws, and we'll have anarchy. We need to have law and order. But according to the Democratic Socialists, they want to abolish ICE and defund the police, defund the military, close military bases overseas, end the war machine of the United States, stop the wars. So you'll have a country like Iran that wants to take over the world. Death to America, death to Israel, kill Trump. And we're just supposed to say, well, we're not going to do any more. It's not our dog, not our fight. It's over the Middle East. It's not going to affect us. What about 9/11, 2001, when they brought the fight to American soil? And how many Americans lost their lives? They were just going about their daily business. Daryl Worley wrote a song, "Have You Forgotten? America, have you forgotten?" We need to play that song. In fact, we put a video up on our Facebook page and our platforms today. Have you forgotten? Have you forgotten that we need to have a military because there are evil countries like Iran that want us to bow down and pray to Mecca, and if they don't, they'll bury us up in the sand up to our heads and let the ants eat us and do all kinds of evil things to us. Socialism is not the way to go. It is not the way to go. So they want to demilitarize law enforcement. They want to abolish ICE. They want to close overseas military bases. They want to end America's war machine. They just want to kumbaya. I guess everybody's going to get along. What about a country like Iran? America ends its military ability to be the policeman of the world. Sorry, that's kind of where we are. I know people are tired of that. I know people are tired of sending their blood and treasure. But what do you do with evil countries that, for example, October 6th in Israel came in there and invaded them, put babies in ovens, decapitated people, they were shot in the back of their head while they were eating dinner, and the terrorists just laughed and ate the family's dinner and massacred more Israelis than occurred since the Holocaust in a single day. Yeah, we're the policemen of the world, but somebody's got to be. End the U.S. Senate. Remember I said we're going to take the Constitution, throw it away? Democrat Socialists want to end the U.S. Senate. It's too beholden to rich interests. They've celebrated 250 years of America, the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution. Well, all of a sudden, today, they're unveiling a platform that says, we don't like the Constitution. We don't think the Founding Fathers did it right. We want to embolden the House of Representatives, and we want to make it the people's government. We want to put more people in the House of Representatives and end the U.S. Senate, because the House of Representatives is more beholden to the people. I don't agree. There is what I call the law of committees. The larger the committee, the less work gets done. You make the House of Representatives too large, nothing's going to get done. And I think the Founding Fathers got it right. The Founding Fathers created a government where we have co-equal branches of government, a self-checking branch of government, where you have the legislative, judicial, Supreme Court, and you have the executive branch. Well, they want to end the executive branch too and have kind of a prime minister that is beholden to the people. Just take this Constitution, just tear it up. End the U.S. Senate, end the office of presidency, end the executive branch, have a prime minister beholden to the people. I don't like that. 32-hour work week, but you still get the same pay as 40 hours. So you go to your boss and say, okay, I don't want to work anymore. I don't want to work 40-hour a week, but I still want the same amount of pay, but I'm only going to work 32 hours. So the person that's built the business, invested his hard-earned money into that. Folks, there's not a money tree out back. The government doesn't supply endless amounts of money. These Democrat socialists think money just magically appears. So you go to and I've been a worker, I've been an employee, and I've owned businesses, still own businesses. You cannot expend more in the business than the business makes. So all of a sudden, we're, as business owners, expected to pay 40-hour wages on a 32-hour work week. All of a sudden, our income costs go up, our expense costs go up, our income costs go down because we're not producing as much because our workers don't show up for 40 hours. And so our prices go up. Our prices either go up or we go out of business because we can't afford to keep paying people 40-hour wages for a 32-hour work week. See, the Democratic Socialists, I don't know what nirvana they're living in. It's like a 10-year-old just wants dad's piggy bank and dad's wallet and dad's car keys. Heck with the consequences. Heck with this thing called balancing the budget. Heck with this thing called can't spend more than you make. It'll just kind of magically appear. Free health care. Who's going to pay for it? End wars. End embargoes on other nations. So they want to have no borders and everyone can just go wherever they want. Do you want to have a lot of these people in Islam, these Islamic extremists, to be able to come into America whenever they want? We need to have secure borders. We need to control who's coming into America. We need to have secure and safe borders if we want to have a secure and safe America. Close military bases. We talked about that. End foreign wars. Defund the Department of War. What are we going to do when we have to deal with countries like Iran? Free Palestine. So I guess Palestine has a right to exist, but death to Israel and death to America. They've been screaming that for 47 years, at least Iran has. A green future. Back to this. How much money have we expended on green technologies? Where has that gotten us? It's gotten us with extremely expensive cars. It's gotten us with cars, for example, electric cars. We mandate that every American have an electric car. What do you do in Minnesota, northern Idaho, Wyoming, where they have very, very harsh winters? You are driving your car down the road, snowstorm, you're stuck in the middle of Montana in the dead of winter, 20 below zero. You have an electric car. Good luck with surviving the night, because with an internal combustion car with a gas engine, in the gas tank, you have a full tank of gas. And they always tell you to have a full tank of gas whenever you're going to go out on slick roads in the middle of winter. Because if you get stuck, if you get lost, you have a place you can stay, your car that you can stay in. You have an engine that runs on gasoline. You can stay warm all night long by periodically running the engine, right? Well, with an electric car, what happens when you run out of the battery? And if you're using the electric car to create heat, you're going to go through that electricity really fast. You haven't thought this through. Having people in Montana have electric cars in the middle of winter, people are going to die. It doesn't work. Phase out fossil fuels. Two things. My Montana example and investment. You have to, the economy runs on fuel for transportation, it runs on fossil fuels. Yes, we can look for ways to more environmentally friendly use that fuel with environmental engines and so on and so forth, but we cannot phase out fossil fuels. We don't have anything that can replace it and make sense money-wise. It's got to make dollars and cents. Why? I know Democrat socialists don't like this concept, but you can't spend more money than you make. Countries that have tried that and just keep printing money dissolve because there's nothing to back it up. It gets back to basic economics. Democratic socialists are just like petulant 10-year-old kids that want their cake and want to eat it too, want to play video games all day and want the government to send. They want to go out to the mailbox and think there's a government check there every week for $1,000. Where does the money come from? Free health care, free education, free colleges. Who pays for this? I tell you what, look at New York City. That's the poster child of what goes wrong with socialism. Mandami says, free health care, free child care, free buses. Okay, Mandami, you've been in office for how long? Where are the free buses? Oh, we're going to raise taxes. Okay? You raise taxes on people with lots of these, and they will take these and they'll say, see ya, I'm going to Florida. See ya, I'm going to Tennessee. See ya, I'm going... If America becomes a socialist country, they'll take their money and they'll go overseas. And the American dream will export the American dream somewhere else because somebody is going to get a clue that this is what we need to do to attract investors. We need to have some place they can go to make money. And it won't be America anymore because we've gone Democrat socialist. We've gone the way of Venezuela. We've gone the way of Cuba. We've gone the way of North Korea. We've gone the way of North Vietnam. We've gone the way of Russia. We've gone the way of China. Hasn't worked anywhere else, but all of a sudden, ta-da, we've got a better idea. We can do this in America. It's for the worker, right? You see the big fist raised? Workers deserve more. Now that's the lie they're going to use to you. They're going to go to workers and say, aren't you tired of working? Aren't you tired of seeing your boss drive up in a Lexus and you're driving a 30-year-old Volkswagen Beetle? Aren't you tired of that? Workers deserve more. With the big fist, a black fist, a colored fist. Workers deserve more. Communist, socialist revolution. Everywhere where socialism has taken its root, it's a cancer to investors, it's a cancer to the initiative of those who can generate something of wealth, something of value. You take that away, and the government just does everything. The government runs out of money because the government doesn't make money. Hear me, if you don't hear anything else I say, government doesn't make money. Government takes money out of the economy. If the economy isn't generating revenue through a good or product that they make, and if you think the government, look what happens out of control government. Look at the United States of America. Look at the fraud and corruption that has been uncovered in Minnesota, in daycares. How many $1 billion is it going to take for California to build a high-speed rail project? How many $1 billion have they made? They haven't laid one track of rail. Government, the phrase that I'm with the government and I'm here to help is laughable. We need the free market system because it polices itself. If a business isn't profitable, if a business doesn't make at least as much money as it spends, it goes out of business. If the government needs more money, they simply go to you, the taxpayers, and open your wallets and empty it in the coffers, and it becomes the government's. You stifle creativity, you stifle ambition, you stifle inventors with ideas. Hey, I can have this invention. I can build a widget. Let's see, I can build something like this. This is a lighter, a scripto lighter, you know. Somebody's already invented this. But let's say nobody's invented it yet. Let's say somebody says, I've got an idea. I can invent this lighter. I can just invent this disposable lighter. People always need matches, right, to light a barbecue. Well, they don't need that anymore. They can just do this. Hey, they invented, they marketed, they're successful, and every place in America has at least one. We've got 3. This is an idea. This is something you can create, generate, produce. It creates a product. You can go out and sell the product. If you sell more than the cost to make the product, the inventor makes money. If you take away that incentive, what incentive does the guy have to invent a widget if he's not going to make any money? If he just has to turn around, I've got this great idea, and I'm going to take all the money that I make from this, and I'm just going to give it to the government. And I'm just going to give it to the government. And they'll know what to do best with it, right? Look at all the graft and corruption that's gone on in the U.S. government and government overseas. Folks, the manifesto, and that's what it is, of the Democratic Socialist Party, they're trying to entice workers saying, are you tired of not getting a raise? Are you angry at your boss? Are you tired of your boss driving up in a Lexus and driving a 30-year-old Volkswagen? Well, you workers unite and storm their houses and take all their money. Well, short term, that might work for you. Long term, it's not. Because the people that know how to create wealth, that use that wealth to create more wealth for everyone, all of a sudden you don't have a job because you broke into the guy's house, stole all his money. He can't create that. He can't continue to run that business because there's no incentive for him to do it because you've taken it over. And you guys don't know how to run a business. It's kind of because all of you driving around a 30-year-old Volkswagen bus. You don't know how to take money and create wealth. That's going to offend some people. Sorry. There are people in our society that God has gifted them with the ability, with the financial wherewithal to know how to do business. God has given them that ability, I believe, to know how to do business. Look at the story of the prodigal son. God uses that to show that we need to invest in the kingdom of God. In the story of the prodigal son, he says there's three workers. And one of the workers chooses not to invest the money the market or the owner gave him, and buries it in the sand, doesn't do anything with it. The owner comes back, the guy digs it out of the sand, gives it to the master, and says, "Well, you are a unjust master, and I was afraid, so I just wanted to give you back everything you gave me. I have not invested it. I have not made more with it." And what does the Bible say about the prodigal son? That the master took the money away from that ungrateful servant and gave it to somebody who knows how to invest it and make more money with it. Invest it. Now, God uses this in spiritual implications. What he's saying in the Bible is you need to help grow or expand the kingdom of God. But isn't it interesting that God used a free market analogy, the prodigal son, where he gave something to a worker to invest. He was lazy, didn't invest with it, and he was reprimanded. This is Jesus Christ teaching a spiritual truth. But he used a free market system. He used a free market example of how to do it. The worker did not invest his money for a profit. So God took the money away from the lazy servant and gave it to the one who knows how to invest wisely and did it. And that's not saying that we need to take advantage of workers and we need to, extract wages from them unjustly. The Bible talks about that too. I think the Bible has a great deal to say about how we're to live our lives. And the story of the prodigal son, about the wise investor, as you invest in the kingdom of God, but he uses business to give an example of how we're to invest and grow the kingdom of God. He uses an example of a master expanding his kingdom, his enterprise, his work, and the servant who does not invest wisely and work and increase his master's holdings, he's going to take it from that servant and give it to another one. Now, some people are going to point to that story and say, "See, that's why I don't like Christianity, because the God is just as evil as Elon Musk." Well, you take that up with God in the hereafter. But I think in that story, and the Bible has a lot to say about how we're to invest wisely, both in the church and in the business community, and we're to treat our workers fairly. I love America because we hold in high regard for individual freedoms and liberties. We have programs here that take care of people that can't take care of themselves. Maybe they have bad situations. Maybe they have health conditions. Maybe they just can't take care of themselves. We have government programs to do that. One of the problems with those programs is they've been hit with fraud and corruption. They're rife with abuse. And we need to get in there and find out where that money is going criminally and put it back into what the program was intentionally designed for, which is helping those less fortunate. And we, as stewards of America's money, need to do that. I'm talking about a lot of different things here today. But it all connects, you see? We need to be wise stewards of America's money. Government needs to be wise stewards of your money. We need to be wise stewards of our time invested in the kingdom of God. But we need to work. The Bible says that the lazy worker should not eat. But it says, if you're offended, sorry, deal with it. This thing, this manifesto from the Democratic Socialists of America will be the ruination of America. Cowboy up America. These next few elections, this next midterm elections and the next general election and these various elections around the country where DSA's, Democratic Socialist parties, candidates are running and saying, "Unite workers." Patriotic Americans ought to say, we're going to unite. We believe that people should work for a living. We believe in the free enterprise system. We believe that we need to create an environment where we can generate wealth. And, it's not money that's bad, it's the worship of money. If we make this our idol, that's bad. But using this as a tool to create wealth in America is not a bad thing, because we can take that wealth and we can bless others with it. Remember, the free market system generates wealth. It generates a product, generates a service, something of value that people will buy. This generation of a thing, of a product or a service, generates wealth. It is a way for increasing income. Government doesn't do that. Government takes this money out of the economy and takes it away from people who know how to generate wealth. Please understand, government does not generate wealth. Government does not generate a product. Government does not generate a service. They just redistribute money. They don't create money. They don't create wealth. I'm not an economist, but that's the basic essential of the capitalism system. Answer me this. Why has America become the juggernaut? Why has America become the big dog on the block? Why has America become so successful? Because we have allowed the creativity, the initiative of a person to be rewarded. And it's brought people with good ideas to America to generate these jobs, these factories, this wealth. And America has become great and prosperous, I believe, to a great extent, because of our love of freedom, our treatment of the individual with certain unalienable human rights, that being life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, the American dream. And part of the American dream is I can come here with an idea, I can generate a product, and I can make money. Can't do that in China, can't do that in Russia, because the government will say, I'll give you an example. I'm not going to tell you the business I was in, but I generated an idea about inventory control, okay, at a business. And one of the higher ups in the company came to me and said, "Oh, we like that idea. Yeah, it's a great idea. Thank you very much." And they took my idea and they implemented it in other places in the company. And all I got was, "Thank you very much." How'd that make me feel? Am I going to give, hey, boss, I've got more ideas I want to give to you. Well, thank you very much for this. Hey, you got more ideas. Keep coming my way. Now, that kind of thing has generated this Workers Unite, where workers are treated unfairly. And I believe there are businesses that don't treat workers fairly. I get that. I understand that. But don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Because for the American investor, the people with initiative, the people with a product, and they get backing for that, and they build something, they make something of value, they make money. And they are rewarded for their incentive of doing that. They're rewarded for their creativity. They're rewarded for their American dream. And they profit from it. And they, I believe, to a large extent, I want to say, take that profit and what are they going to do with it? After a while, they get tired of going to Aruba for vacations. Hey, let's build things. I like making companies. I like making money. I like building things. If you talk to these entrepreneurs like the Elon Musks, I think a part of what drives them is making something. And I know Elon Musk has been vilified. People say he's the Antichrist, or people say Trump's the Antichrist. Let's take Donald Trump, for example. He likes to build things. I think he likes to create things. Because at some point, how much more money can you make? I think what drives them is making things, making successful companies. And for people that don't have that gift, it gives them a job, gives them a place to work. Yes, we need to treat workers fairly, but this thing of throwing away the Constitution, ending the executive branch, ending the U.S. Senate, and just tearing up the Constitution and doing something differently, even though it's worked for 250 years, that's throwing the baby out with the bathwater. We as Americans need to fight this DSA movement. The next elections, it's a question of American constitutional freedoms and guarantees of government, or socialism. It used to be Democrat versus Republican and then some nuances between the parties, so on and so forth. But it has become the Freedom Party and the Socialist Party. The Republicans, dare I say, the Republicans, and I know we have issues we need to address there, but the Republicans have become, I believe, the party of freedom, constitutional rights guaranteed, the American dream, incentivize investors to invest more money and to build companies. The Democrats are fast becoming the party of socialism, the party of 32-hour work week with a 40-hour wage, the party of no borders, the party of free health care, free child care, free this, free that, free transportation, free public whatever, and we'll just raise taxes. They don't realize that people with the money will run. And you're going to run out of money, and you won't be of the people left. You've chased the top 1% out of your taxing district, and you're going to run out of money to fund your socialist dream. And the lights go out, kind of like they are under this canopy. I think the rain stopped so we can come out of here in the sun. If we want to make more of these, we need to incentivize people who know how to make this, to create wealth and economy. This has worked for 250 years, the Constitution of the United States. The Democratic Socialists of America are, I think, adolescent people who do not understand how the economy works, how the free market system works, understand how the principles of government work. They're just, dare I say it, lazy people that want a free ride. They just want to go out to the mailbox and get the government check and stay home and play video games. Not all of them are that way, I understand that. But this system, as flawed as it is, I believe is the best system in the world today. It is the American system of free enterprise. If it is not, how come it has become the most successful? How come America has become the strongest nation in the world? How come? You tell me why. What's the difference with America? How come America has become the gold standard? How come there are millions of people wanting to come to America? Why? Well, it's because the American dream. The Democratic Socialists of America will destroy that dream. They will tear it up and will become like Venezuela, Cuba, North Korea, on infinitum. Vote no on socialism. It will destroy America. Cowboy up. We need to get involved politically. You've never been involved in politics. You can say, well, I don't like to get involved in politics. I believe in separation of church and state. They'll just deal with that. Well, they're not doing a real good job of it. And I'll just do my church thing. I'll just do my life thing. And I'll just abdicate my role as a responsible citizen. Founding fathers said, you can have a representative democracy as long as you can keep it. We need to be active citizens participating in our governance. If we don't, they will take it away. There'll be a knock at the door and you'll realize that you lost all of your freedoms overnight because we allowed it to happen. Cowboy up, America. I'm Dave Adams. This is Street Level America, and that's what I think.